Hi, this is Osman. I'm an energy healer, a yoga and meditation teacher, and an entrepreneur. Please also remember to visit my website, yogawellness786.com, for more information, resources, and contact information as well. And also remember that these are all natural therapies based on ancient sciences and not a replacement for medical treatment. If you have a medical condition, please be sure to visit a qualified and licensed practitioner in your locality. And today I want to discuss my views and opinions on the law of attraction and manifestations, because the field of yoga, meditation, also spirituality comes under the broad field of spirituality, and also, of course, comes into the subject of the law of attraction and manifestation, which has been a trending, interest and subject for reasonably, few decades already. By this time, and popularized by one of the old gurus in the field, Bob Proctor, who also based it on ancient, books and theories that are going back to the early 20th century, like Think and Grow Rich, and the law of attraction and so forth, right? So in this science, I would say firstly that I'm very skeptical always, about this, and the only thing that brings some degree of curiosity, you can say, and maybe not completely denying it, is that so many people who present it very eloquently and with conviction, especially someone like Bob Proctor. I would say him especially because towards his latter years, when he was still speaking very passionately on the subject matter, his the line that captured me the most is his statement stating that he's got 60 years of experience in this, right? So 60 years of experience of teaching the subject matter, and himself being very skeptical, and not someone who was very intellectual, originally. And he just practiced what he was taught and experienced major changes. So does that mean everyone, if they just follow, what he taught, a few simple basics, and will also experience a similar result? I don't know, and but just that the fact that he's been teaching it, and he achieved his goal of establishing his business of teaching the principles of the law of attraction and manifestation in every country in the world. And I remember watching the video when he received the phone call from one of his assistants that asked him to sit down and gave him the news that he is now in every country. So, I mean, if he's got that level of popularity and support, I mean, a business cannot grow without some type of support. Then it leads one to state that possibly, there's some truth to it. Have I personally experienced it directly? I've attempted it, often, and of course, I try to follow a more scientific approach from the psychology sciences perspective, programming your subconscious mind repetitively on positive affirmations and information, especially from an academic perspective. So there is a book an audio book that I listen to on a daily basis, and that audio book is about 2 hours long. So it covers my breathwork practice, or the Kriya practice, the energy practice, when I'm doing my 2 hours minimum of energy practice, which, I mean, it's not only 80% of the time I'm getting to do the 2 hours. I'm listening to that while doing the practice, because when I'm awakening my energy, I'm able to automatically step into the theta and delta levels, right? But more the theta level, because I have to remain conscious, and I have to count the number of rounds, and but not 100%. There are pockets of time where I'm slipping into delta and having non-experience, but probably 10% during every round, right? So I do like an average of about 100 rounds of the energy practice, and each round lasts maybe about a minute and a half, and probably there are certain, in 20 rounds or so, maybe 5 seconds or so that I'm slipping into delta, but mainly in the theta state. To listen to the book, which contains the basic elements that I believe in and want to adopt into my business life, right? And my personal life as well. And listening to that, while doing the energy practice and being on the theta level, um, according to psychology science, the theta level is a more suggestive. The mind is more suggestive, and you can program by repetition to think in that way and bring about the changes in your life. So, he continuously repeating something and magically seeing it coming into your life, I don't know whether that's a practical way, to live, and but continuously, repeatedly listening to a broad level of systems and theories and practices that one wants to adopt and make as part of your everyday life, like elements of a book, as opposed just to one single phrase, that you incanting or repeating all the time. You're listening to a whole book, or an episode, a training, a self-motivational training episode, from a respected person, right? That is popular and famous worldwide, and has got proven strategies that's known to work. And if you try to imbibe that into your subconscious mind through repetition, and especially during your meditation practice, or your your energy, your yoga practices, when you're going into a calmer state of mind, right? I would find that that is more, a practical way for manifesting. And the word manifesting has an element of magic in it, and which I try to shy away from, that type of concepts. And although in my videos I said I do believe, because scientifically there is incantation, it produces the energy, and it can bring about changes, but that's in conjunction with our daily efforts towards that goal, right? So if we say we put 99% effort and 1%, bring these incantations to supplement your physical efforts, your plan of action that you're refining and that you're taking action on a daily basis in terms of bite-sized tasks, So I am someone who believes in this, and having been in this field and very interested in it, I would say for over 30 years, right? Full time interested in the subject matter of self motivation and the power of positive thinking, and this type of field. I haven't personally, can say, from my recollection, it's possible that I've manifested in ways that I'm not aware of, right? But I figured that, the way that I focused my core attention was on practical plans and strategies that make sense, and from respected authors or teachers, that are popular in the world today, right? And trending in the world today. And people like Bob Proctor, I would say, what I respect most is that he is very successful in having built an international business, and the fact that he's doing the same philosophy and believing so strongly in the conviction of that philosophy for 6 decades. And also his methods make a lot of sense. How he goes about doing his training and explaining. Not just a simple incantation, right? So there's a lot of theory behind his lessons, and it seems a bit logical, but I wouldn't go and put that as the core of my plan for the future, right? I wouldn't do that. So that's my insight on the law of attraction and manifestation. And I hope that does not, I'm not trying to be negative towards it. No, I'm not saying anything negative. I'm not saying it is something that I do not believe in. But from my personality, I, I take my goals very seriously, and I require a proper plan and a proper action plan that is based on sound science and sound philosophies. And I'm keeping my mind open to those avenues, like law of attraction and manifestation, and I include it in my day-to-day um, applications, and subliminals, something that works, and so forth, possibly. I mean, this is scientific from a psychology point of view, where you can program your subconscious mind. But to listen that the mind can hear inaudible frequencies, I don't know, because of course we can't hear them, and whether they work or not. I haven't got the time to take 10 years of my life and experiment with, a few of those things, dedicated. I'm quite busy, and I'm sure you as well, most of you, a majority of you don't have that time. But incorporating it and keeping an open mind is always good. I never say no to anyone or no to anything, but that doesn't mean I'm accepting everything into my daily action and practices. I respect everyone's viewpoint. I respect that it's possible that my viewpoint is absolutely incorrect, and the other person, and as much as I disbelieve them, who knows, maybe he is right and I'm wrong, right? Am I, the all-knowing authority on the planet? No, I'm not. And is there someone who is an all-knowing authority on a planet who is a human? Human means you cannot be all-knowing. You cannot be such authority. You can gain respect during your time. You can win some Nobel prizes. You can write, volumes of books and sound very eloquent with a lot of experiments behind you, which can be overturned a decade later completely, right? I'm now, living and practicing in this field for several decades, right? For almost half a century. So I've seen, philosophies come and go, right? And be totally turned. So I go with, in the current time, I'm always expanding my knowledge and doing what my heart feels is correct, and what my mind also accepts, is logical, right? And probably my upbringing, is because my mom was a very strong influence in my life, and molding of my childhood and my character, of course, which, usually a mom is. And she's someone who believes only things that is logical. And in regard to, even, I mean, I'm a practitioner, I'm an energy healer. Um, I don't think she believes in energy healing as well. She will not discount it, but I don't think she will ever access the, services of an energy healer. She will go to her GP and, follow the GP's recommendation. And she may take a supplement if recommended by, a GP, or myself for that matter. And, but she may respectfully accept it, but whether she's physically consuming that supplement on a daily basis, I don't know. She's, not that type. So I'm coming from that type of background. So I'm just explaining the background to you, that it's not from my logical analyzing, and if I'm going to influence you to becoming too pragmatic, that's not my intention, but just to explain my perspective, so that you gain some perspective, someone else's perspective, who spent his life in this type of field. Okay. And please remember to visit my website, yogawellness786.com. And please remember to take care always.